there.
Yes.
But I think we want that, but then we also, on the other side of things, we don't really ever do a lot different in our lives. Like there's a comfortableness about just plugging along and doing
what you know.
and yeah, doing what you
Yes.
know.
Yes.
But so I know that like when I knew that David was going to do this world religion tour, and I was so excited to study world religions. I had done his Holy Envy course. Plug for David Butler's Holy Envy course if you haven't done that. It is so great. It is not expensive. Get online and listen, because it will just expand your perspective about how God talks to all of his children. But I called Sierra and I was like, oh my gosh, do you want to go to India with me? And immediately we were like,
Yes.
yes, we want to go to India. And then, and it was like a year away, right? So
Yeah,
you can also feel more comfortable when something is down the road.
Yeah.
But as something that is seemingly a little scary because it's outside of your comfort zone approaches closer, your natural body, I'm not a scientist or like any sort of doctor, but I feel like when like scarier things get closer, like your body is naturally going to try to be like,
It's prepping you.
it's
for
prepping
that.
you for like death, you know?
I know.
And you start to like get all in your head. And poor Sierra, she had to, like, I remember even like 6 months out, I'm like, I'm not even able to pack for this
I know.
trip.
I do remember that.
And we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah.
And she was probably like, my friend's a psycho.
No, look, if anything, I packed depends for this trip. This might be a little like too much information.
it's never too much.
But like we were scared. I mean, there was a lot of like, not just, there was so many things to be worried about. But now I'm like, that was so silly that we worried so much.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That was like my big takeaway is like we would call each other, we would go
Yeah.
back and forth. I felt like I would have a day and I'd be like, I don't know if we can do this. And then Sierra would be
Yeah.
like, if they canceled the trip, like I would be fine with it. And I'm like, me too.
And a week before you were going, you were telling me, I still haven't packed.
I hadn't packed a week
We're
before.
avoiding it.
I was avoiding it. I was so nervous. Sierra packed Depends. I packed period underwear.
Yeah.
I'm like, what if something happens? You know, I'm like, why can't I be, have
Well,
gone
you
through
were so
menopause?
worried. You were so worried about India.
Well, we were so
specifically.
Yeah.
worried about India. We thought nothing about Dubai.
Yeah. We thought Dubai was going to be like the relaxing, easy part of the
The
trip.
spa version.
Yeah.
Yes,
The vacation.
we were
Yeah.
planning on
Yeah.
going to the spa. First
Yeah.
world problems.
Like
but-
one of my most favorite things that Ariane said when we were talking about India, and we had like kind of Zoom meetings to talk about different things. And after that Zoom meeting, I remember Ariane was like, so I think I'm more of a Dubai girl than an India girl. And I was like, yeah, me too. But I think we're now more India girls.
way more India
Yeah,
girls.
yeah, way more.
And we love, like, I would love to go back to Dubai when it's not in the middle of a war.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
because the people
it's
there,
safe.
like, were so hospitable
They
and.
were.
But India, what we were scared about. So I guess this is my number
Yeah,
one
give
takeaway.
a little context
My
for
number
why you
one
were so
takeaway is because I think the things that we are afraid of are like we shouldn't be afraid of them.
Yeah.
Because what we experienced in India, like I've been a mess since I've been home. When we were leaving India to fly to Dubai, I had this this heartsick feeling in my heart, in my soul. And I remember looking over at Sierra, I'm like, I feel like I'm leaving my grandma's house when I was a little girl. And I cried. I had to walk away. I cried walking into the airport because first of all, I loved it so much. And we'll talk about more why we both loved India so much. But then also I was so, I don't know if frustrated is the right word, but I just thought of like how many other things at almost 48 years old, how many other things in my life have I missed out on because I held myself back, because I was too afraid to try something new, to step outside of my comfort zone. I know Sierra and I have been talking about that a lot. Like, how do we keep what we've learned and incorporate it and even change our lives, but also like what other perspective shifting experiences do we want to like make sure that we're not missing?
Yeah. It's so good.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So get outside of your comfort zone. And the funny thing too, we recorded with Latter Daily Saints, and after we stopped the recording, I was talking to Sierra and I were talking to Jackson Wayne Paul, And I was like, I started praying 3 years ago that God would take me out of my comfort zone. Because I was at this point, Tiara knows this whole story, that I was at this point in my life where I was like, I don't think anything really scares me.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Don't
I'm
say
like,
that. Don't say that out loud.
I know, but I wanted to. I was like, I mean, you guys, I was a mess. Like we've talked about like that I was I was shy. I was coming out of like way not great choices in my life. And I, anyways, just had a background of, I don't know. I was just a mess. I'll just put it that way. And I was put into situations in my life that helped me to grow. And I'm so grateful. Not that I didn't like the person I was 35, 40 years ago. I didn't. And even 20 years ago, I didn't like who I was. But because, I mean, really, God has a plan for all of us, and he takes us, this mortal existence is a time for us to grow.
Yeah.
And so I really love change. I know most people don't love change, but I really do love change. So I was at this place where I'm like, no, like bring it on. Like take me into the fire. Like take me out onto the ocean, and like I want to have to trust you more, because I was just in a safe boat. Like just like there with Jesus and in the safety, and I'm like, make me get out into the water with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Highly recommend that because of what it does, but also just disclaimer, you might end up in the middle of an actual war zone.
Yeah.
Just
I
be
know, but
careful.
the funny thing was when I'm like, I prayed for that, Sierra was like,
Thanks.
I didn't pray for
Yeah.
that.
I was like, she's just taking me along for the ride. And
So I guess also disclaimer.
Be careful
and
who your friends
Tiara
are.
knows like this too, because I'm like, we're supposed to start a podcast. And we were both like, what?
What? No.
No. But anyway, yeah. So maybe don't be friends with me, because I'm like
No.
gonna make you. I'm gonna make
No,
you
it's
come
so good.
out of the boat and walk on the water and drown a little bit. But
Drown for a
Jesus
while.
pulls you back up. Like
Yeah.
that's the whole point.
Yes.
So that's my number one takeaway is like, stop being afraid of change and
Yeah. Embrace it.
embrace it. And because we miss out if we just stay too comfortable.
Yeah. 100%.
Anyway, I don't know.
love
What's your take? One of your takeaways. Doesn't have to be your number one.
Yeah, I don't know. I think honestly, just being back and just kind of reflecting on everything, I think the thing that just keeps I don't know, it's like just feels like in my heart is that God is so big. He is so grand. He is so like I just feel like my mind is blown by going to India and just meeting all these other people that also love God, and just being amazed at the way he loves and talks to all of his children. Like so many of my prayers lately, I just feel like I am blown away. Like I can't contain my like awe
Yeah.
of what he is doing. And same thing where it's like, who else am I missing not getting to know, and what other lessons, because he is so big. He's so incredible. And I loved seeing him in places I didn't expect to see him.
I feel like you're describing the result of what Ariane's takeaway was.
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
that if you are willing to get outside and trust the Lord to that level, that you're like, I want to walk on the water with you.
Yeah.
And then he expands you and your view of things and your view of him. Like you just get to see more angles of God, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah.
I want to know more.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's hard. Like when people have been talking to me, and I know, and to you as well, and some of our other friends on the trip, it's like even hard to put it into words. Just the feeling of it. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I'm like, part of my prayers have been, how can you have this kind of an experience without having to go to India? Like not very many people probably will ever make that journey. I mean, it's far away.
Yeah.
and it's, and there is an expense to it, and just timing. And luckily we both, could get away, and we have lives that allow us to do that, which I'm so grateful for, but most people won't. And so then it's like, how do you have these kind of, and I don't have the answer to that. That's what I'm still pondering on, because I'm like, like I can't go to India every year. Well, actually
Maybe we can. Let's never say never.
Stay tuned.
I know. I
Stay tuned,
want to get my
actually.
family back. I
Yeah,
would
stay
love to
tuned
take
for
them.
that. But like, how can we have? Because I feel like Sierra and I are both, and you too, Tier, like we're open-minded people. It's not like we're, just in this little box, and we're not like living in this Pollyanna, world. Like we are seekers, all three of us. But how have we not seen it? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I know. And like I say, I feel like so often when I go on vacations or things, like I think this like tour and David Butler's vision is phenomenal. And I just think this was kind of the first time I'd ever heard of like specifically going on a vacation to learn about other religions. And I just hope that it expands out, and I hope more people start doing this, because so often when we go on vacation, it's like, and my husband, I love him because from day one, whenever we go on a trip, we always on Sunday, if possible, try and go to church. And I have loved that. But I think sometimes though, when you go on vacation, it's kind of like a tune out time, or like, okay, we're just going to veg. And instead it was like the complete opposite, where we were just like totally submersed in religions and God. And it was just, I don't know, it was just such a unique experience, because I don't think you usually do that on vacation.
Yeah.
Right. And I've talked to some friends too about that. They're like, oh, I've traveled a lot too. And I'm like, not to take away from, I mean, you've traveled way more than I have, but I've been in different places in the world, but this was different.
Well, it's like anything else in your life. If you involve God in it, it's deeper, it's more meaningful, it's more fulfilling. It just has such an impact versus that kind of more shallow, for me type of deal.
Yeah, check out, we're on vacation now. We don't have to think about things we usually think about, but it's like, it was so much better when we were thinking about God the whole time.
Yeah. So for people who don't really have any idea of what you experienced in India, give us a little bit of context about what you loved about it, what freaked you out about it. Like tell us a little bit more about your experience in India. Either one of you.
I think what I was nervous about was eating. Just because we had to be so careful what we ate. Sierra and I's word of the trip, and it ended up being kind of a funny thing, because it ended up continuing through the entire trip, was vigilance. That was our word. And actually, I've wanted to keep that as my word for the rest of the year, for sure. Is vigilance. And so we actually never got sick.
Yeah.
And there's so much symbolism, I think, to life with this too, because we were very vigilant in following the rules.
We were
Very vigilant. In fact,
I know there was one time where I was like, oh my gosh, we would kind of shame people that were like we'd see somebody, not really, but the two of us, the two of us to each other. I was like, this is so funny, because we'd see somebody that was having a glass of juice, which we weren't supposed to do, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, did you see they're having a glass of juice over there?
and I was like, yikes.
And then there was a pastry that somebody had with a strawberry, and Ariane's like, are you gonna eat that?
Right. So what were you not allowed to, what was the rule? Why,
Yeah.
if people haven't been to India, what's the deal with all that?
So it is no raw fruits or vegetables, no salads, no, and the fruits, I guess if they had
Technically,
you could have watermelon, or maybe a
it
banana.
had a rind.
Yeah.
like something to
a
peel.
thick,
thick, not
Yeah.
thin fruit. I posted, I remember on my Instagram, I posted they had fruit everywhere too.
Yeah,
It was
they did.
a constant temptation. Are you seeing the symbolism?
Yeah.
Right in
between
front of your
life,
face.
constant temptations everywhere, and it looked good.
And you're in a
it
tropical
did.
location, so the fruit is probably
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
the dragon fruit.
Oh
the dragon
my gosh.
fruit. It was killing me.
Right.
Yeah,
It was
we were so tempted by it, but I posted this picture and I'm like, I would kill to eat that pear. And so many people were like, why can't you eat a pear? Are you allergic to pears? And I'm like, no, it's a thin skinned fruit.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can't.
So is the worry there that E. coli or just
Yeah.
certain
Yeah,
bacteria
E. coli,
because it is
parasites,
such
yeah.
a dirty environment that's dangerous?
And I mean, I wouldn't say it felt like that, but yeah, their water is just different. It's just not, maybe there's just things in it that our bodies aren't used to.
Right,
That
right.
they're fine.
They've
there.
adapted
Yeah,
to.
yes.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I mean, it was we couldn't brush our teeth with the water. We were told to kind of keep our mouth shut in the showers.
And eyes closed tight in the shower.
Yeah.
Like it was intense. And
I would have been like terrified everywhere we
Yeah.
go.
Well,
But
they-
vigilant, that makes sense why your word was vigilance.
Yeah, like
well, and they prepared us. They're like, we were trying to instill the fear of God in you because like we were also not stuck, but we were stuck on a bus for like 12 hours a day going around to all the tours.
or we were staying one night at a hotel, and then the next day we were on a bus and then a plane, and so we were just moving. We
Yeah,
were moving really fast. So
constantly.
the thought of getting sick, you would not be able to just like
Stay
chill
somewhere.
and like hang
No.
out until you felt better.
If you were
No.
sick, you were going to have to be traveling.
Yeah, or
while
miss
sick.
or miss like really incredible spots,
Yeah.
you know, that we don't want to miss.
Yeah. Yeah. So we were like super, super nervous. And I would say we took it just to be even more careful. Like we didn't eat the watermelon. We didn't
Yeah,
eat,
we
like
didn't.
we didn't. We
didn't
ate
eat.
just only cooked foods.
Yeah.
And
pastries.
and lots of pastries.
Okay, that's
so
good.
don't feel too bad for it.
Yeah.
I just thought you had granola the whole time
Well,
you were there. So.
we did have like
Granola
a
bars,
breakfast, but then we mostly like lunches.
And that was another thing too, is
Yeah.
they had told us because we were going to be on the go so much and there was just places that they didn't know or trust were, maybe using clean water or different things. So
Yeah.
we had to pack all of our food, which was kind of hilarious.
yeah.
And we were stressing about that, and we ended up
Not using a lot of the food we packed.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want to eat trail mix again.
yeah.
I ate a lot of trail
You're
mix
over
for
it.
lunch because
That's
we were
so
just
funny.
on the go so much.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
we were
Let me
just
see.
on
Can
the
you
go.
unlock that for me for a
Oh,
second?
yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Make sure
Um.
it's working good.
Anyway, so that we were afraid of,
Mm-hmm.
and we did have to be careful about that.
Yeah.
And then also just I think what else were we afraid of? That was like the big thing was the eating. I think.
For me, a big thing is just being that far away
Yeah.
for that long from my husband, because we love traveling together, and that's kind of his thing is traveling, and that's kind of his hobby and his passion, and so he takes care of everything usually. So I was like totally fine to go on a tour group where everything I knew would be taken care of, but then it was just sad to not have him with us, and you felt that about Lance too,
Yeah,
like
yeah, that was our biggest sadness on the
Yeah.
trip. Is we're like, oh, because we've never been that.
You guys
You
are
know, we
brave.
were
Just
never
straight
back-
up brave. Like I would not leave the
Well,
country
and-
without Will.
Well, I'll say that like I'm not somebody who has like a lot of anxiety, even though after this it's probably like, oh, I was afraid to go and afraid to eat and afraid
Maybe you
to.
should have been afraid.
I mean, but I'm not like I don't like have that as a challenge. Like, anyways, I don't
Yeah.
have that, and so but I do get a little travel anxiety, and I did warn Sierra about that, and
Same.
I like going through all the securities at the airport
Yeah.
and like all the foreign airports and like visas, and they're very strict about the visas in India. And anyways, I told my husband Lance, I was like, I'm gonna be cured from my travel anxiety. and I have to say, even with the departure that we had to experience,
Yeah.
I have no fear
Yeah.
to travel or pack, because we
Yeah.
had to pack and unpack,
Ooh.
pack and unpack, pack and unpack
all the time.
7,000 times.
Yes.
Especially in Dubai.
Yeah.
Because we
would think we were gonna go, and then we didn't,
and then we thought we could get 2 bags.
we did.
And then we didn't. And then we did, but then we
Yeah.
didn't get to. Like, and so we packed and repacked 7 million times, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I am
You
not
got
even
this.
I'm
You-
not
you
even
got like a PhD in traveling.
it really was.
Yeah, and honestly, I would do it all over again, and I'm kind of like, all right, what's the next adventure? Like,
Same.
That's
it was
awesome.
great.
But
Yes.
you take me next time.
Yes,
we wanna take-
will.
we wanna take all the
Everybody.
people.
Yeah,
Like-
nobody can. No, everybody has to come
Everybody's
because
gotta
go.
it was so great.
That was our saddest thing too, is just not having our families there. Here we are
Yeah.
having this incredible, mind-blowing, soul-expanding experience.
Yeah.
And I have to say, and no offense to my dear Tiara here, but like my very best friend in the whole entire planet.
yeah.
We're all,
You're there too. There's
fam.
all
We're
yeah,
all
we're all
fam.
circling the wagon. But it was so great to do with Sierra.
Yeah, it was.
Because
It was so good to do it with Ariane. Like the feelings are so
Oh my gosh.
mutual. Like, yeah.
oh my gosh.
It was
How long have you guys been friends?
not
Since-
as long
since
as I
the
feel like.
pre-existence.
Yeah, that's what it feels like when.
Since before
yeah,
we were
yeah,
born.
yeah.
I don't let's see. Ella was a baby. So when I first
time.
moved, maybe like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
10 years.
It's a long time.
But
But
we're
it
Yeah.
It feels so much longer than
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I know. We want it to be longer.
Yeah.
God brought us back together.
Yeah.
I do have this theory that people that you were connected with in the pre-earth life, that there's like that's how Tiara came into my life. Like
It's like a divine ordination
yes,
in a
like
certain
there's
time.
like it's like a magnet though
Where
too.
you're, like,
Like
in
you
your-
just like
in the
bubble
magnet
together.
together. So, anyways, I'm like Sierra is one of my biggest compensatory blessings
Aw.
in my whole entire life. I love her with all my
I
soul.
love Marianne.
I'm burying my
And
soul
so
to you
I-
on live.
I
and
know.
it's gonna be
Professing
recorded.
your
And
love for
honestly,
each
I
other.
can't even believe like that you invited me to go on this, and it just deepened our friendship. It deepened
Oh, yeah.
so many things. So thank you to you for
no.
stretching me and pulling me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, it was so great.
I actually, my favorite meme of all time. It's the painting of the people that are like lifting the paralyzed man down through the roof into to Jesus, and it says, "You ain't got friends unless they do everything they can to get you to Jesus." And I'm like, that's like my bar for what a true friend is. It's like,
Amen.
are you willing to like
Lower
haul my
me.
carcass up a rooftop and lower me down
Yep.
to
Yeah.
make sure that I'm getting to Jesus? So that's what I feel like you're describing.
Oh,
Yeah.
for
I
sure,
love it.
So
for
good.
sure.
Thank you
She saved
for that
she
visual.
saved
I love
me
that.
in a time where I needed it so bad. Like
think we
the
both
love
did.
of God for sure through her
awesome.
friendship. So anyway, but the thing I think that blew our minds too about India. Oh, there's so many. Like maybe we can share some of our like top things we loved about India.
Yeah.
You need to write a book.
Oh, I'm not that smart, but I think Sierra already mentioned just like seeing God and how big He is and how much He loves all of His children and has been
Yes.
talking to all of His children like for like thousands of years
For all time.
for all time. I mean, just like, but like on this earth, you know, like
Yes.
we saw Varanasi. I think Varanasi, and I know everyone loved, and I love Shania and the Rising Star, and we're gonna do some fun things with them. But I think as far as like my soul expansion was in Varanasi. Do you think? For you or more different or
I don't know. I honestly, for me, it was just a collective whole. I think.
Yeah.
I think I think in Varanasi, I was just kind of like I felt like at that point I was just trying to take it all in.
Yeah.
Like it was kind of some of the beginnings.
It was.
and I just was like, I don't even know. I mean, yeah, I
but
definitely.
it was like
felt
I
something. Yeah.
think the thing about Varanasi for me, it was like it's the oldest living city that's still running as a city
Yeah.
on the earth.
Yeah. It
Of
was.
all
It
of
was.
them?
Of all of them.
Yeah. It's
That's
it's
wild.
pretty.
It's so
pretty
old.
amazing. Yeah.
It's so old. And that for me, just like what you described earlier, that was like, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like how many people have lived here? How many
Yeah.
people have walked on I mean, I know people think that when they go to Jerusalem, like Jesus actually walked on these streets, but I'm like God's children have been living in this city for thousands of years.
Yeah.
And here I am, this little like housewife from Mount Sterling, Utah, and I'm like here.
Yeah.
That was, I don't know why that for me, that for me, I was
sure.
like,
You're explaining it so well.
no. But do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like that was like
Yeah.
part of that. I was just like, this is incredible. And then what they did
Yeah.
in Varanasi.
Yeah, the devotion that the people had, it was really impressive.
Well, what was the quote from your one friend
Oh,
on the trip?
Tammy.
It's like my new favorite.
Oh,
ever.
yeah, cute
I think about it
Tammy.
every day.
You say, you tell it.
No, you tell it. You know it. You
Well,
know it.
so that was another like just little side note. That was so fun on this trip is just building relationships with all these people that we'd never met, and they were like the most incredible people ever, and just learning from them and their thoughts and their takeaways. And
We almost got as much from that.
yeah,
I mean, I would say maybe tied
Yeah.
Tied.
with
Yeah.
what our experiences were what we received and learned from the people we were with.
Yeah.
Well, you know
Yes.
you're going with different people, like people that are going on a God vacation.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like you're in a different category than most people, and like everybody went there for that specific purpose.
Right.
So I would
Yeah.
imagine that was just
Yeah.
incredible.
For sure. For sure. And on one of the times when we were on the bus for a little while, everybody kind of got up and shared a little bit about themselves and just maybe a thought that they had. And Tammy, she got up and shared that in India, or she shared that, you know, there was a couple people that weren't members. And so she had just said, we know who it's from. It's from Elder Kieran, but she said there is a leader of our church that says that God is in relentless pursuit of us. And she said, but what I have found in India is a people that are in relentless pursuit of God. And we all, it just like
mic drop.
right to our,
Gives me chills.
mic
Mic
drop,
drop.
like right to our heart, because we all felt that. And that was, I think, early on. So it was Varanasi. That is what we all felt in Varanasi. Is just these people that were willing to sacrifice so much, to come to this holy place that they just revere, and it's been holy for all time. Really.
Yeah. And when, just to kind of expand your mind, like they come to this river, the Ganges River, and they see it as a very sacred, holy river, like holy water.
Yeah.
And when we say people come, it's like I don't know, like what's a big football stadium? I don't know, just to give it perspective. For members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, think of the conference center that holds 20,000 people. Is that right? About 20,000 people. Yeah. And between 100 to 500,000 people a night come to this river for prayer, for like a community prayer.
Yeah.
Like
with priests.
Yes.
And they do like certain like ceremony kind of ritual things. And I mean, and it's kind of cool because there's like, it's like just tons and tons of steps.
Yeah.
And you just look out and it's just steps like all along the river, and it's just chock full of people. I mean, you would have a hard time
pretty
moving
like
through it.
overwhelming to just like try and take it all in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. So
That this
let's
happens
think of, let's
every
think of Cache
single
Valley.
night.
Yeah.
What Cache Valley, including the university students, is around 100,000 people, right?
Probably.
Right around 100,000 people in Cache Valley. That's like if at least all of Cache Valley times, and also some nights up to times 5, all come to one place
To pray.
every night, rain or shine, every night to pray together.
Yeah. And I just wonder too, like if it is just different people. It was a city full of life. I mean, the people, I have never been to a place so crowded ever.
Me either.
But such a good energy.
But yeah, I was going to say, not like sometimes when you go to crowds, like, or you're walking in a big city, like if you go to New York, like I've been on Times Square. I don't know how many people are on Times Square, like on a given night, but it doesn't feel safe.
No.
And it doesn't feel, I don't know.
Comfortable?
It doesn't feel comfortable. That's the
Yeah,
word I would
that's-
say.
yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't feel comfortable, but there, let me swim in the water of that humanity.
Oh, serious?
Like, wasn't
They
it
were-
like so comfortable?
totally.
No feeling
Yeah.
of uncomfortableness,
No.
like lack of safety.
Yeah, no.
Like worrying that we were going to be pickpocketed. I mean,
Really?
I've had people ask me that, like, were you afraid of being pickpocketed? I'm like, never.
Not well, and
Really?
especially not in Varanasi.
Especially
these
not.
are people that are just, I mean, I'm sure there's always somebody that will take advantage, but no,
Yeah.
it was just,
No,
that,
no.
it
We
was
didn't
just
feel that.
people. Yeah, it was just people all trying to like have an experience with God there.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was the Hindu religion there?
Yeah.
Okay.
But Buddhists, I think, too, feel that it is like a sacred place as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your kind of connection there? Like obviously we're Christian, we believe in Jesus Christ. What was the connection and some of the similar threads that you could see in their religion that made you feel like it's probably the same God just reaching people in different ways?
Yeah. I think the thing that was interesting with Hinduism is they actually have a lot of gods, but each one kind of has like a characteristic that we felt like
Of God.
that
Oh,
of that whole,
interesting.
and that really was, I think, what we found in all religions is I was like, oh wow, we're teaching, or he's teaching the same thing, but it's just a little bit different.
Just a different interpretation.
yeah.
The way that would speak to them in the way that they need to be spoken to.
Yeah,
That's
but
what
I'm
I
like,
think.
this is all the same stuff. This is all the same thing.
And even just like watching their ceremony, their prayer ceremony, there was like a lot of very similar aspects to like ceremonial things that I've seen in Catholicism, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I don't know, just you were like, oh my gosh, this is the same father of all of these children speaking to them
Yeah.
and then them wanting to commune back with him.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, the thing that has been overwhelmingly on my mind and heart and every cell of my body, like you're saying, like I just like want to explode, is community. Like
Yeah.
community. And
Yeah.
and I was speaking to I serve in the Logan Temple here in Cache Valley, and one of the assistants to the matron of the temple, we were talking. She had been sick, and when she felt like the greatest turn in her health journey, and Sierra's had this too. I'm sure you've experienced this with your health journey and your health journey too. Is when it was like a community coming together. She just saw this big shift in her health and her recovery. And then even when we were trying to get out of Dubai, like we knew everyone that was praying for us. In fact, well, we didn't even know everyone that was
Yeah.
praying for and fasting
Yeah.
for us, but like it's like the community came together. And I just think that there's so much power in seeing, I don't know, that's why I think Varanasi, I was like, this is like a community I want to be a part of. Like
Yeah.
I want to be a part of a community that's like, hey, everybody, at 6 o'clock, we're going to meet. Like, I'm like rallying Wellsville. We have a town square.
We
like,
have a cute little town square. We
have
could
a
all meet there
darling
every day.
every night at 6 o'clock before the sun or whatever, right before
you imagine
sunset.
that?
I'm like, I don't know.
I feel like you guys can imagine that.
Because
Yeah.
You
yes,
saw
we
it.
saw it.
Yeah.
You experienced it.
Yeah.
And for us, it's like, that is so completely foreign.
Yeah.
But it's like, most people know the power in gathering. Like, even when you get together with your family on Thanksgiving, like, I know that maybe that's traumatic for some people, but the way that, like, when you gather with people
Yeah.
who have love for you and love for God, the way that just, like, strengthens you individually,
Yes.
but also just, like, pulls down the power of heaven in a way that only people gathering together, like,
Well, and it's a commandment,
can.
right? And like we talk about that in our restored scripture in the Doctrine and Covenants, we meaning Jesus Christ,
Yeah.
that we are commanded to gather together oft and to pray and to speak God's word and to edify one another. We see that in the Book of Mormon. We see that with Jesus Christ brought the multitudes together and they prayed
fed
together
them.
and fed them and I'm like, oh, and that is like, speaking of like the common strains, like in I'll say Christianity and in our faith with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, is like, that's why we get together every Sabbath day. But I just kind of like, I don't know, I've always had this little bit of a hippie spirit, and I'm like, how about more?
Yeah.
Let's get together more and be together more, because I think one of the things that I learned over COVID is Satan loves isolation.
Oh, yeah.
And he also likes us feeling like we're alone. Like we, like I'm the only one that's experiencing this. I'm the only one that's feeling this way.
Yeah.
Like if I could just be by myself, then it will be better, but it's not better.
Yeah.
And I think too, one of the great things about like community, and then I feel like they take it just one step further, because I would say, like, on the whole of India, it just feels like the whole people are so immersed in their relationship with God. And I feel like that it's in their culture too and everything. And I don't know, it was just so unique. And I think like we maybe have that sometimes, or we feel that, within our ward families, but they are like, there's so many different religions and they're all so respectful to each other, and they all, I don't know, it's kind of magic. And like I say, it's like the things that they wear, have a tie back to their religion, which I think we maybe do a little bit, but it was just, there were so many things, like different markings, different earrings, there was just so many things that tied them back to God that was in their culture of their communities too.
But they weren't doing what we do here, which is try to say that I'm right and you're wrong. And if you're wrong, you're going to hell. Because if you
Or-
don't understand God the right way, if you're interpreting him differently than me,
Well, or
Sorry,
that
Charlie.
we maybe sometimes dumb down what we're doing so that we don't offend other people.
Yes.
Like one thing that I loved, and this was in Dubai, is the call to prayer. And it's like in their malls, they have like, you can see like there's signs that say exit or bathrooms, and then there's like signs to say where the prayer room is. And where the ablution room is, where they wash, for
And
prayer.
in the airports,
Yeah, and in the
in
airport.
the hotels,
Yes,
like everywhere.
yes. And even in the mall, we would hear the call to prayer, and we'd hear it on the mosque, and it was like they weren't like, oh, this is a mall, this isn't a space of like, religion. So we're not going to do it here because we don't want to like offend anybody. It was kind of like,
because that's a practice of Islam. That's a Muslim practice. And
yes.
And not everyone there is obviously Muslim.
Yeah.
But there was no apology for that.
Yeah. And people were really like, nobody was like protesting, no more, like prayer. Yeah. It was just like, everybody just kind of like, well, that's what they're doing and good for them. And, and I don't know. I just felt like that was kind of magic for me, is just seeing all these people practicing so outwardly what they believed in their religion and people being okay with it.
Yeah.
Well, to go back to what your point was about if a true friend helps bring you to Jesus Christ, like that was their whole mindset of like, we want everyone to believe in God.
Yeah.
Like however you come to him, like that's a good thing. And I loved the Zoroastrian priest that we met in Chennai. And that was like his biggest thing is he's like, Chennai is a place where there are Sikhs and Jains and Buddhists and
Hindus.
Yes, all these people. And he's like, we all love each other.
Yeah.
He's like, everyone coexists and we all love each other and there's no hate between faiths. Like we're all here together practicing like our devotion and our love to God.
Yeah.
And he was like so darling about it and so proud of it in such a humble, like such a sweet, I don't even know the right word, like sacred way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh, we should do that.
I love their understanding of God. Like, right? Because at the end of the day, they have enough trust in him that everybody is right where they need to be and he's working with all of them. I feel like here we have just such a fear mindset. If we don't do this right or if you don't believe this part, like then sorry, that's to hell with you. But there they have that space and that like the understanding of God that he has the capacity and also the power to do his own work and to reach people in whatever way he can. Because I like, maybe I'm crazy, but I think it's all the same God.
Yeah.
I think he's reaching everybody.
You're not
through
crazy.
their
It
own-
is the same God.
Okay. I'm not crazy.
I'm going to testify of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you guys got to see that in real time and experience that for yourselves.
Well-
For me, it's like, that's what I think. But I have the feeling that if I went there, I would just experience that and then just know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what you guys are describing.
I think our Western culture is, we are so panicky about the timing of everything and getting things done, the to-do lists or whatever. But there, and I think Sarah, tell me if describe this better than me, but there was like this like anchoring, like stillness, like even though there was like literally 1 billion people, and I'm not exaggerating because there's 1 billion people that live in India.
Yeah.
We didn't even see all of them.
populated country in the world. Yeah.
Yes, the most populated country in the world. So that also lets you know. I'm like, why did we love India so much? Because God sent most of his children to India. So where would God be? With most of his children. Duh. Like that, so of course we felt him there.
Well, they invite him.
Yeah,
into
and they invite them.
everyday life.
Yes, it's very different. But if I feel like if the Spirit has been trying to teach me anything this last like few years of my life, it is that my timing and God's timing are not the same. I don't look at timing the same way that he does. And it's that whole like, not only be still and know that I am God, but be still and watch me do my work. Like watch me part the Red Sea. Watch me like have this like anchoring. Like we get so worried. I'm going back to my number one, I guess. Like we get so worried, like, oh my gosh, there needs to be peace and we need to do this and this needs to happen. And we feel like we are trying to control it. And we had a great discussion yesterday with a group of ladies that we get together with every week and talk about general conference talks. And I loved the thing that that we were talking about there of just, I lost my train of thought. It just flew out of my mind. What was I saying?
What I feel like you're describing is the scripture, like stand still and watch and wait for the arm of the Lord to be revealed. That's the one I'm thinking of. Because that's what you're describing is, you know what? Like, chill out, friends. Chill out, kids.
Oh, I got it. It came back to me.
Okay.
It is.
I hate when that happens to
I
me.
know. I'm like, I swear I had a good thought. It is Antichrist doctrine for us to think that we're in control.
Oh,
like
yeah.
we are actually living in Antichrist doctrine when we think like, no, I actually have a better idea and I actually think the way that I could fix it is better than him.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, no, like we're just here. Like he lovingly allows us to participate because that's what changes us and that's how we like connect further in relationship with him.
And that's his work.
And that's his work. That's his work. We are his work. But like we step out of our, like President Uchtdorf would say, like we need to like land our plane in our own lane.
Yeah.
Like
so
we need
I
to
actually,
remember.
so last year I kind of started listening to this, the Kabbalah religion and kind of what they believe. And it was really fascinating. Something that has stuck with me so much is that God, like he was talking about lanes, like you need to stay in your lane. God has his lane. Guess what your lane is? Your lane is today. God gave you dominion over one day at a time. You don't have any say over the past. You don't have, you need to give your future to him. You get today to create with him. And I love that idea
love that
of like,
too.
this is my lane. He just gave me the one day at a time. And that's how we stay in the present because that's what that's all he gave us was right now because
Like
everything
the
else
hymn,
is
one
his.
step enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He redeems our past. He protects
Guides our
and
future.
guides our future. And we need to just stay in our little
Today.
lane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Present, being still and waiting for him to reveal what he has for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what I feel like these people are doing. They live
they're,
that.
They're just that like daily existence of like devotion and I don't know. One of my other favorite parts about India was the traffic. Like when we got to Dubai and everybody was like staying in their own lane. Speaking of lanes,
So
like,
there
on the
wasn't
other side.
cows, there wasn't dogs just wandering on
Yeah.
the streets. It was kind
Or
of sad.
camels. I know. We were like, this is like clean and beautiful and boring.
Right?
So they call it organized chaos.
Yeah.
Which made me think of the creation. Like everything was chaos and then God like organized the chaos, right? So I love that because I'm like, I tend to like when I'm in my home, like I want everything to be
Just
perfect,
so.
to be just so. And I'm kind of like, we had the greatest shout out to Charlie, our tour guide in India, who made it even just like next level. But he called it TII. This is India.
Yeah.
So that's like my new family's
Oh,
thing.
cute.
I've given them permission when I'm getting a little too like, I need things to be this way, that they can tell me TII. TII, mom. Like this is
that.
India. Like just organized chaos. Like
Okay, have you seen
let it
that?
be.
Have you seen that little? It's a little meme. Again, I guess I'm bringing the memes today. But it shows like a piece of a pine branch, and it shows how the pine needles go out and around, and they're kind of
seen
all
this.
different directions. And then it shows where somebody lined up pine needles all in a neat little row, and it said, I'm trying to remember what the one said, but the other one was chaos, where it was all organized. That's chaos. This is order and chaos.
Oh, order and
Order
chaos.
was that it all just went everywhere. That God made it go,
Yeah.
and then we step in and we try to line it all up, and that's actually what's chaos.
That's a good point.
That is.
I love it.
Yeah,
it's
I
like
love that
ingrained
too.
in my brain now.
Like,
But
I
that,
still
feel
want
like
a
that's what
clean
TII
house, but-
is.
Yeah.
But yeah, TII, like just like let it
Go
go.
with the flow.
Like go with the flow. Like my Christian friends, like my like evangelical Christian friends, they say let go and let God. And like that's kind of it. Like that's kind of their lifestyle, is just like let go and let God. And
I feel like
need to be
that's what
more
we're
like
learning. We are being like that, right? Our,
Yeah.
our very podcast is
Jeez.
evidence that
Yeah.
we are. We're just letting. Before we started the podcast, you said Jesus take the wheel.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah, because we don't want to drive.
No.
I actually am a great passenger princess.
I'm actually
Thank
a
you.
crappy
I will sit over
passenger.
here, eat my snacks. I'll eat my
I'm learning.
snacks. I'll give suggestions on how to drive every now and again, but I'm just going to be over here.
I'm not. I'm like the driver. So I've really had to learn. God's had to like really knock me over the head and be like, get out of the driver's seat.
Yeah, but
You
it's
won't
just
get
funny
sick
that
if you let me drive.
you're describing in India being in these traffic jams where people would just move in and out and there's animals and I'm like,
And go
would
in
my
any
head
direction.
explode?
Yeah.
No, you would love it. Like we got in a rickshaw and we giggled the
Yeah,
whole
the whole
entire time.
Yeah.
And you could have like reached out and grabbed the hand of the Indian man in the next
I
rickshaw
know.
this close,
Like,
this
seriously.
close.
That's hilarious.
And it was so fun.
Yeah, and everybody, honestly, I felt like that traffic worked because everybody like had a mutual like respect for each other. I don't know.
right.
It was seriously like you would think that there'd be like more road rage or more yelling, but it just like I don't know.
It had
They
a
were
flow
there
to
was
it.
I always say
Yeah.
there's like honking
Because people
like
weren't
New
resisting
York.
it.
But
Yeah.
there was like honking, but it was instead of like get the crap out of my
Yeah.
way and flip people off and
was
be
like-
mad, it was like beep beep.
Or I'm here,
Yep,
I'm here,
yep.
just so you know. And even like on the back of some of the trucks, it would be like honk to let me know you're here or something.
Yep,
Or
yep,
I wish
yep.
I remember
What?
exactly the phrase. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was just kind of like,
Amazing.
so there was a ton of honking, but it just had a whole different vibe.
It
had
was
a
like,
different
it was
meaning.
so happy.
Yeah.
It was like,
Yeah.
we're all here together, beep, beep, beep,
Yeah.
beep. you
Yeah.
know? And
And
so
is it
then-
my turn? Is it okay if I come now? I'm here, you know, and
Do you
Yeah.
feel like their society is less ruled by the clock?
yeah. I feel like almost it has to be.
Because I'm
Yeah,
thinking about
like a
myself
rhythm.
driving in traffic, and what makes me mad is if I'm going to be late. That's where I get my road rage. And so I'm thinking, like, what are these people, what is the box that they're not in that they get to exist like that? And is it just a different flow of time?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. That was another thing that he said is DOT, which means depends on traffic.
Oh yes.
Like when
Yeah.
we get to places.
Yes. Yeah, they weren't so
know.
worried. It was funny because he'd be like, okay, we're going to be here for 15 minutes, and then we'd be there for 2 hours.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
But they
I
were
love
okay with
that
that
too.
They were okay with that.
Yeah.
Whereas us were like,
Yeah.
I gotta get there, I
Yeah.
gotta be
I don't
there, I
know.
gotta-
Things just kind of worked out.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy. I don't know.
weird. That's
guys-
order and chaos.
You guys, I have
Yeah.
to tell you. So my husband has been living TII and DOT his whole life. And everything just kind of works out. And I've always told him that it's worked out because of me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, there's somebody making this work out. But
You're living
in
in
India,
Antichrist
I
doctrine.
feel like the somebody that's making it work out is God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Right?
For sure.
Like, and they are just like, and so Lance was so excited that he's like, I'm gonna get a new wife because not that he doesn't want me the way I am, but he's like, this is the way I've been trying to get us to live all these years.
Yeah.
And it does, Ariane, it just works out. And so again, going back to my number one, just like stop trying to make things work. Just like
allow it.
Just,
Yeah.
Well, it's allowing him to do his work because
Yes.
really what Kabbalah teaches is that like we actually shut the door to miracles because we're trying to control things.
Amen.
And when we do
Yep.
that, he can't bless us. But when we are open to whatever happens, whatever he brings
India.
to us,
Yeah.
like I've said, I spoke at a Relief Society thing the other day, and I said, I just decided that I'm going to just say yes to whatever he brings to me. And
Yes.
that's so scary, but that's your original,
Yes.
be willing to get uncomfortable. I'm like, he's going to keep calling because I keep picking up the phone.
yes.
Yeah.
And I love it.
And his plan, and I'll tell you, I'm a reforming control addict, but his plan is way better than my plan. Like if I could go, because I thought I had this really perfect plan, I would have never met Sierra Nord. I would have never met you. Like I would have never lived where I do. How I wouldn't have the children that I have, like the number of children that I have. Like his plan is way better.
Yeah.
So we're like scared of something better.
Yeah.
Like that seems
Yeah.
like that's just dumb.
Yeah. But the people over there just embrace life as it comes, traffic as
TII.
it comes, just
Yep.
flow.
And allow each other to come through as needed. And nobody got mad that we were there for 2 hours instead of 15. It was just kind of like, this is
Yeah.
India.
just existing in the
We'll
present
we'll
day,
still do it.
the present moment.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. It was so fun.
I love that. So, okay,
was awesome.
do you want to switch gears and talk a little bit about Dubai? It's 11:06.
Yep, we only have a few more minutes left. Yeah, Dubai was like boring compared to India, even though they have like all the world records. Sorry, Dubai. I'm not hating on Dubai, but like
Their
comparative.
food redeemed anything
Oh, the
else,
food
right?
was amazing.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
food was
the food
awesome.
was so
And the
good.
people were so awesome. But I
Yes.
mean in the way that like, I don't know, like they were, again, this I guess is the symbolism, right? Of like seeing how God lived with the people in India. And then like Dubai was like, I feel like it's like they're trying to be the Tower of Babel. Like we're going to build the biggest tower and the biggest
Yeah.
Ferris wheel and
Yeah,
the biggest
make a name for
make a name
ourselves.
for ourselves and like you know and so
interesting.
it was very fancy and like very impressive but like in more of like a shallow way.
Was
maybe.
this just like
Yeah.
such a
I don't know.
culture shock for you guys?
Yeah, well, in Dubai, it's only like really like 40 years old.
Yeah,
Like
Right,
not
it's
that old.
really young.
It's really so young, and so sometimes it was such
Yeah.
a stark contrast from India, where you're just like seeing this rich history
Yeah.
of these cultures and the things that they've built. I mean, it's like a Europe, you know,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
you think of like going to like a Vegas kind of.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh,
it's like
that's a
new,
great
and they're trying
visual.
to make it like grand, but
It was
just
like a
falls
less trashy
flat a
It
little
just
bit.
like lacks
Yeah.
that soul.
yeah. Yeah.
the
that
depth.
India had.
Yeah.
The depth.
Interesting.
But
Yeah,
the
but
people
amazing.
there.
But also, I'm not trying- yeah,
yeah,
I'm
and
not
that's the
being-
thing is the people that were there,
Ugh.
and like I say, the
Devotion,
mosque
the
that they
mo-
built, the presidential palace, there was beauty that was
so much beauty.
like awe-inspiring
Yes.
for sure. But it was just it was just different than India.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there was just constantly people on the streets, and there was just such a hustle and a bustle, and there's just not as many people probably in Dubai. I don't know, maybe.
Yeah,
like-
yeah, it was just such a contrast. In
Yeah.
fact, we were almost like, kind of off put by it. But then the longer we were there, I was like, I'm going back to Dubai. Like
Yeah.
I will go back in a second. And we were treated in both countries so incredibly
Yes.
wonderfully.
Yes, for
like
sure.
they took such good care of us in Dubai. They were so genuine, so I don't know, hospitable. Like the people were just so loving. Like Sierra and I were buying these scarves from this cute man named Ramadan, and he was like, "Would you like something to drink?" And
Yeah.
we were like, "Yes." And we kind of thought it would be like a can of Coke.
Yeah.
And then tell them what they tell
It was like a homemade hibiscus drink that he had like made in, I don't know what kind of bottle, but it wasn't like and he's just shaking it, and we're like, yes, please.
Yeah,
no."
he just pulled it out from underneath the counter, and he said his son like makes it,
Yeah.
and it was like a plastic kind of juice bottle with the label ripped off, and
Oh.
and we were like, yeah, and Sierra's like guzzling it down. I'm like, are we gonna? And she's like, we're in Dubai, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna drink it. She's like, yeah, and I'm so down the hatch it
Yeah.
went,
How
and
was
it
it?
delicious.
It was really good.
And guess
actually.
what?
Awesome.
Guess what, you guys? I sent Sierra a little picture because I just feel like Heavenly Father is still just giving us a little bit of love. And
Yeah.
so I drove through Chick-fil-A because I did miss Chick-fil-A. I love Chick-fil-A. But you guys, they have a strawberry hibiscus lemonade right now.
I love hibiscus. Like
Oh
hibiscus
my
tea is like
gosh.
my favorite herbal
I
tea.
need to stop and get one.
I
haven't got one
sent
yet.
Sierra
That
a
was
picture and I'm
cute.
like, a little bit of love from Heavenly Father today. There's a hibiscus tree.
Yeah.
And it made me think about like Ramadan and just the people and like even the like actually today is I'm gonna say it wrong. Eder al
Fitr.
Fitr.
Yeah.
I'm saying it wrong. It's the last
Eid al-Fitr.
Eid al-Fitr or something.
something like
Yeah.
that, yeah.
So today, this very day that we're recording this is the last day of Ramadan.
Yeah.
Their 30-day fast. This is actually for Muslims, this would be comparable to like Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh,
actually
that's
kind of
awesome.
special that we're doing this today. 'cause-
Yeah.
To celebrate
To
your
celebrate.
experiences over there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I think I was like so surprised by Ramadan.
Me too.
I, like,
it was
had never-
amazing that we were there
Yeah,
during
I had
Ramadan.
never like really given it much of a second thought, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like yeah, the fact that they get off for the whole month, they get to go home early from work
Oh.
or whatever they're
Yeah.
doing, and so they
Wow.
close
Like,
everything
everything
down.
closes
Yeah.
down around like what 2
2 o'clock,
2:30
yeah.
yeah 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
And then they go home and they prepare their food for when they break their fast. And it was like there was specific like even sales at the malls, and they have certain decorations. It's kind of like a lot of like moon and
And
stars.
sun,
wow.
Yeah, and
moon,
sun effect.
sun, moon,
Oh,
stars.
Yeah.
interesting.
And I think honestly what I found is that like even though Dubai and India were so different, these are people, and I think this is also kind of a takeaway for me, that I see people living the laws that are in our temple covenants.
100%.
I see
Oh.
people living the law of sacrifice.
Yep.
I see people living the law of consecration.
Yep.
I see people living the law of chastity, like all of it. You know,
Yeah.
like they're and
law of the
so
gospel.
And they're doing
Yeah,
a better
yeah.
job at it than most of us here because
Yeah.
it just hasn't. We haven't incorporated it into our life in the same way that I feel like you guys are describing.
But it just gives me so much hope that God is working on all of us,
Yeah.
everywhere. That I'm like, wow, like he's really like getting his messages.
He's
out
teaching
to-
those
yeah.
same
Yeah.
virtues, those same
Yes.
principles that bring you into His
Fasting,
presence.
Yes.
prayer,
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
worship in a holy house.
And they even
of
have
his-
like a tithing.
they do.
I mean, all the
all of
religions.
this. Yep.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
all have some form where they're trying to give back to
Yep.
others. And
Yep.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
I
good.
love that.
It's
Anyway.
so
It's
great.
kind of like
So
you
good.
could just like recognize Him and His ways
Yes.
through this completely different culture, completely
Totally.
different lens,
Yeah, and
all the way
different
around the
religion
other
and-
side
yeah.
of the world.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
And what was so sweet about it is that we got to see like how God was talking to people, and then He gave us like an experience to have that revelation with him. Like, I think some people look at our trip and they're like, oh my gosh, too bad your trip ended in a war. And we're like, that was part of the sweet,
Yeah.
it was a sweet part too. My husband was
Weird
like,
cherry on top.
yeah, like,
Yeah.
like really though, like my husband was like, so our last day of the tour was the Grand Mosque in Abu Dhabi, which is when the first missile strike happened. And that was supposed to be the end of our tour. And my husband was like, you thought the end of your like religion tour was in Abu Dhabi, like that last day of what it was supposed to be, but he's like, God wanted to keep teaching you.
Yeah.
And I'm
he
like,
did.
that's exactly what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah,
And
he
like,
did.
I would go back knowing, and even if we like weren't 100% sure that we were going to be able to come home, like I would still go back and do it all over again.
Same.
It was such like another teaching moment for us. Like we learned how to like communicate, how God talks to us. Like I had things that I've learned before that are like even more deeply instilled in my conversion about revelation, about how he speaks to us. Like even we recorded our whole How We Got Out story on Latter Daily Saints, so you can go and watch that there because it's another hour-long story.
Awesome.
But just like how God has spoken to me and my husband is exactly like we were working together, and it's exactly how he spoke to me and Sierra to know
Yeah.
how we needed to leave. And that was just like he knows, like he's so big, but he's so individual.
Yes.
So detailed.
So
Yeah.
individual to the person.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
not, I mean, yes, the detail, but like
It's like intimate.
intimate. That's the word.
Yes.
I'm
Because you would,
intimately
you wouldn't
individual.
know it wasn't
Yes.
it like
And so like blowing
Yeah.
huge
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I just think he's so awesome
I
because
know.
of that.
I know.
But he would, you know, and it wasn't always easy. Like like, you know, when you are with somebody like for such a short period of time or for such a long period of time, like so confined and having these intense experiences, like, you know, I don't know, like we work so well together.
Yeah.
And we did have our moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, like,
Yeah.
I can't do it anymore, you know. But it was still like that was still okay.
Yes.
Like we still like
Yes.
I don't know, like we had people in our group who like had their moment, like their breakdown moment, but then like giving each other grace in that, you know what, she's stressed out or I'm stressed out. Like I feel like that happened too. Like we recognize the difficulty. And again, the symbolism of all of this in life, like recognizing the difficulty that people might be going through and being like, oh my gosh, they're just like in their moment trying to like beep through. And I need to like let them through and give them some love and let them have their feelings too.
And I think just acknowledging too, like that even though like we were so faith filled and we were so hopeful that we were going to get out, and we felt like God was just with us.
And we were praying our literal every moment of every day, like, and more on our knees than I ever pray in a day.
Yes. And I just felt though that like it was also okay to acknowledge like, man, this is so disappointing that just fell through. Or, oh my gosh, I am so frustrated that we are having to, or that the phone call got dropped for like the 5th time as we've already been on hold for an hour. Like it's just kind of like, it's like, I feel like there was a time where I actually on my knees said to Heavenly Father, like, I'm here for this whole experience. Actually, I'm willing to feel like all of it, the frustration and everything, and just know that you're going to teach me something from this, and not feeling like, okay, as soon as I choose faith, then I'm just going to be happy the whole time. You know, or as soon as it's just kind of like this duality, like that it's like with, you think about like courage sometimes, and courage isn't like it's acting even with the fear, you know, so we just have to acknowledge all of the feelings, you know, and just be
like
okay with
allowing
all.
them to coexist at the same time, because the truth is we can't have the bitter without the sweet.
Yes.
We don't know it without that contrast,
Yeah.
and like giving ourselves that permission to like, okay,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna be feeling this frustration and this anxiety and maybe a little bit of trauma because I'm in the middle of a war zone, but
And
also
discouragement and, you know,
the peace
and,
that passes
and
all
sad,
and
understanding.
sad
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
all
but
of
then
that, but we still
Have
like
room for the rest.
have faith.
Yeah.
Like we
Yeah.
were still, and honestly, like people are like, oh, you seem like you're not really worried, and you seem like you're like, we were scared and not all at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was like, yes, a missile debris could drop on our hotel And also, I'm not afraid. Like,
Yeah.
because I'm just not. I don't know. It was like this covenant protection.
Yeah. That's incredible. It's amazing.
Good
Yeah.
stuff.
I feel like you guys just had this another thing in Kabbalah. This is my like one other religion that I've like really just
And
vibed with.
I'm
I
like
just-
excited to learn about
I
this
just
now.
loved it so much. But this idea that you are a vessel and you have to be expanded to receive what God has for you. And that expanding can be like really uncomfortable. To tie back in with what we started with is that pressure and that tension is actually where that expansion happens. But then God comes in and fills it with more, and just that relationship with him just keeps expanding the more we're allowing that molding, that like, what's my word, just
Busted open, Lord.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
what I'm saying.
Just like just being willing
Yeah.
to be expanded, and
Yeah.
and I feel like that's what happened to you guys. Like you came home new creatures.
So yeah, so my invitation is like, pray the scary prayer, because it's actually not scary.
Yeah.
And you're gonna be changed, and it'll be so good.
Yeah.
And it'll hurt a little bit, but
That
not.
expansion is painful.
I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. So it's like worth it.
Yeah.
It's worth it. So anyway,
Yeah. Okay. You guys are incredible. I'm so grateful that we did this, because it was fun to listen to the story of how you got out and all the miracles of that on that Latter Day Saints podcast. That was awesome. So if you want those details, because
Yeah.
so many miracles, so much revelation happened there, but this, I feel like I got to see just like the really beautiful parts of what you guys experienced and learned.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it
thank
was-
you
it was
so
awesome.
much
Thanks for letting us
sharing.
share.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Okay.
letting us be here.
All right, we'll catch you next time.
bye guys.